Hello everyone and welcome to another Used Tech Hustle video. So, judging from my previous videos, you'd probably think that I'm just into Nvidia cards only. After all, most of my reviews seem to be based entirely on Nvidia products, but I can assure you this is not of my own doing. It's just simply the case that a lot of the PCs that I see and buy have Nvidia cards in, so obviously I review the cards that are provided. So recently when I picked up a PC which had a totally different card from Team Red, I was quite excited to see what it could do. So what are we looking at today? Well, we're looking at the Radeon R9 270 Gaming Edition from MSI. The card itself is a mid to low range card released way back in 2017, so it'll be interesting to see how it performs with today's titles, or at least the ones I enjoyed playing anyway. Digging into the specifications for anyone interested, this particular model has a core clock speed of 900MHz, which can boost up to 975. It has a memory speed of 5600MHz, of which there's 2GB GDDR5. It supports DirectX 12 and has the usual ports, which are HDMI, DisplayPort and a couple of DVIs. So with all that out of the way, it's time to fire up my test system and see what this puppy can do. If you're interested, the test system we're using is my X58 build, which is an X5675 CPU, clocked in at 4.5GHz with 24GB of RAM, so certainly plenty powerful enough to make sure there's no bottlenecks from the PC point of view. Anyway, let's fire up a few choice games and see what this bad boy can do. First up, we're taking a look at one of my favourites, which is Battlefield 1. For this benchmark I decided to put it on the high settings, so the FPS are a little bit lower than what you could get out of this card if you wanted to lower them a little bit, but I think coming from a console gamer's perspective anyway, it looks pretty good and runs really well. Next up we've got PUBG, which I had to put onto very low settings to get anything even close to what I would consider playable. And yeah, it runs okay. The very lowest settings do give you an average of 42 frames a second. However, I do think that there are other cards that will perform a little bit better in the same price range. Moving on to GTA 5, this one I had to use a mix of medium to high settings. I think we're being held back by that 2GB of RAM. However, the performance was very good, giving us an average of 76.8. with some very respectable 27.61% lows. Next up we've got City Skylines, which is another one of my favourites. This one did mainly work okay, however it would be a bit choppy occasionally when it dropped down to the very lowest FPSs with about 8.4, but overall at the high settings this is a very playable experience, and of course you can drop the settings if you wish. Firing up a classic next, we've got Crisis. This one was one of the ones that I tried at high initially, but it was unplayable, giving about 18 to 20 frames a second. Dropping it down to medium brought things to a much smoother average of 68.7, which was very playable, but that's to be expected for such an old game. There's another one which I'm pretty terrible at, but they performed very well. High settings, you got an average of 78.9. Now if you're competitive at all, then that's obviously not good enough, so you would need to drop that down. But if you like the finer graphics, then this certainly is a passable card if you want to go for it. One of the older games on this list, but I do love playing it, Dirt 3 was quite happy to run a very respectable 72.8 average. All peaked out settings, so yeah, it's no surprise with a game of this age though that it did run so well. Finally we've got a new game to my collection thanks to Humble Bundle. This is Overwatch, so yeah, it is new to me, so ignore the terrible gameplay, but from a graphics card point of view it runs very well with a respectable just under 70 FPS average, perfectly playable unless I suppose you're very competitive at this game, which I'm not. Okay, so we've taken a look at the benchmarks and had a quick overview of what the card is actually like, and I suppose the question remains, would I actually recommend it? Well, one big factor of this would be the price, and if we take a look on eBay, for example, the R9 270, if we skip past all of the broken ones, this particular type of model comes in around about £60 to £70, reaching upwards to even 100 in some cases, but you will find the 270X within there as well. For that price, no, I simply wouldn't recommend it. I think you can get a lot better even from the green team as it were, which may be a dirty word to some Radeon lovers. However, if you are lucky enough to go to something like CEX, where they do occasionally stock it for £42, then yeah, I think for that price it is a pretty good deal. So it really depends. I would recommend it if you can score it for around about the £40 mark, which is certainly feasible with the market as it is. However, if you're looking to stretch beyond this, then honestly I would suggest to go elsewhere. You can pick up things like a 560, GTX 560, which has been very good in my recent benchmarks, and obviously there's the old faithful 750 Ti. Now I do obviously seem to lean towards the green team on this particular occasion, but that's simply because I've benchmarked them and I know for the price that you're outlaying, they do seem to perform better. If you have a card that you'd like me to check out that you think I would be impressed by though, then please by all means let me know in the comments. I'd love to see more Radeon cards and hopefully be blown away by their performance. But for now, yeah, I'm going to lean on this one being not really worth it, but depending on the price. So there we have it, that's my opinion on the R7 270. Pretty good, but I think there are better available. Anyway, if you like this video and want to see more, then do check out the others on my channel, where I've got benchmarks, build videos and an awful lot more to come, so do subscribe if you want to see more. If you have enjoyed it, then also consider maybe leaving a like rating as well, as these things really help, especially with my channel being so small. But either way, hope you've enjoyed it, and maybe I'll catch you in the next one.